Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So, today's video I'm talking about a weapon that could possibly be the king of the assault rifles in this game, and that is the good old Excava. So, let's get right on into it. Starting off with the Excava. For the cores and the substats, we are going to talk about them at the same time because it will make a lot more sense that way. Now, with the external component cores, with the weapon cores, you're going to want to go follow the minigun meta. If you've been playing this game for a while, you might remember a video about Glade minigun Excava meta, and this kind of eats into that idea but completely changes the concept of it. We're going to go with 3 fire rate cores on here for absolutely ludicrous fire rate, and then we're going to be backing that up with element. You can go with electricity, you can go with chill, you can go with fire, or you can go with toxic, and the weapon has inanimate electricity anyways, so if you want to build for Sigma, chuck fire on, purge, chill on, purge 35 or challenge 5, toxic on, and electricity because, you know, if the weapon's got electricity, but it's all preference based. Element is a 50-50. So with this here, with the substats, we're going to go with multi-hit chance, multi-hit damage, rounds per mag, and weak point. Firearm attack would also be pretty ideal on here, or yeah, just firearm attack would be kind of nice on here. Electricity would also be fine, or the element if you want it. Legional damage would be whatever as well. So yeah, this is what we are going to go with. Now let's talk about the build for the Excava. Now with the build for this weapon, it is pretty interesting. Now a lot of people would be like, build it for full damage, build it for this, or build it for that. So immediately there's 2 style of builds. There is the Glade build, and then there's the everybody else build because everyone else has infinite ammo. Because we're going to focus this on everyone else, let's start off by adding firing Fiesta, and then I'll show you guys the difference and show you what you should put on for the Glade only build, so you've got the best of both worlds. We're going to first start off by giving more damage, so for that we're going to go with action and reaction. Then we are also going to build up and add on rifling. I can't even type no more. Rifling reinforcement for more firearm attack. Now for your weak point, we're just going to go straight in with weak point sight. This is going to allow us to basically just get, like, you know, straight up damage, which is what we want. And then we are also going to expand our magazine size to make it so that, you know, we can shoot the weapon for a bit longer. And then we are also going to add on one more damage module, and that is charge amp. Now we don't really care about multi-hit damage, firearm crit damage, because we're not building into crit anyways, so it really doesn't make a difference. Now for our element, like I said, in this instance I am just going with electricity, but if you want to change your element, feel free to do so. Now fire rate, because we're going absolutely nuts with the fire rate, we want to cap this out, so simple as it gets, we're going into the fire rate. Now for the last 2 modules on here, we're going to go with the good old multi. Yes, we're going with a multi-hit setup on the Excava. For the module 2 modules that you're going to want to use, I would recommend multi-piercing trigger for multi-hit damage and multi-hit chance, and then I would also recommend going with multi-percussion sight, which is multi-hit chance and less multi-hit damage. Now I know you're thinking, for a normal Descendant this does not make any sense, and trust me, it might not, but the damage on this is mental. The buff to the Excava that did apply recently kind of absolutely slaps, and this is the setup you would want to use for a normal Descendant. Because we've got firing Fiesta, we do still get the pocket minigun style of weapon, and then for everything else, this absolutely slaps regardless. Now with this over here, this is what you would use for every other Descendant. If you do want to use this for Glade, however, you are going to want to change and add in electric priority and multi-hit induction. Now this is here because, you know, with Glade infinite ammo, you just use your third ability, you survive, but if not, then yeah, this is ideally what you are going to want to go with. If you're going to use it on Serena as well, which is something I'm going to show you a little bit later in the video, you're going to want to use it with this setup too. So that is the Excava build out of the way, and let's get on into some Excava gameplay. But before we do get on into some gameplay, I do want to give a massive shout out to, again, Help I Am Ashley. She's one of my best friends. She's an absolute beast at this game. All the Serena gameplay in this video will be provided from her, because I've made this very clear. I suck with Serena, so all the Serena gameplay is going to come from her, and she massively helped out and basically tested a lot, if not majority, of this build, and I just give complete credit to her because she's an absolute beast in this game. And make sure to go show her some love and some support. Her social media, which is her YouTube and her Twitch, will be in the description, and make sure to go follow her and show her some love and support, and I would really appreciate that. So yeah, now let's actually get on into today's video. So let's run a quick dungeon. Now a lot of this is going to consist of Bunny with the beetle, and then I'm just going to use the Excava to pick off dead mobs and stuff like that, or dead weight, so you can basically see how this goes with that over there. Now with the Excava immediately, you'll notice that I'm not using it. What would I consider my best case scenario to use the Excava? Something ideally along the lines of, hey, I'm almost done here, I missed some mobs, what am I going to do about it now? Something like this is where I would use the Excava to absolutely nuke, and then yeah, just rip apart the mobs, stick this back over here, and then we are going to want to keep running. Using the Excava, you can just jump and pick off mobs like that, but it's not really the best way to play it in my opinion. So I'm going to focus the Excava more on the dungeon bosses once I get over to them over there. So let's just keep running this dungeon as you normally would with Bunny. Now, I do think that the weapons in this game overall in terms of balance have kind of just overall been improved generally. I don't think... holy rubber banding. I don't think that any weapon is changed like an insane amount to the point where it's going to be like the new best thing ever. But I don't think any weapon is necessarily in a horrible place either. So I think weapons overall are kind of getting better. Now, let's go towards the... final boss in here, and we'll take care of the bosses with the Excava. So I'm going to use Bunny's third ability as a support. I'm going to condense nuke the first wave, and then there you go, condense nuke the first wave, and from here on we're just going to use the Excava, delete the trash with it over here, and as you can see, Excava absolutely, if you don't get frozen, absolutely rips apart these bosses. Now with this here, you just got to make sure you aim at them. Aiming at weak points is going to help you out as well. It's overall a very decent weapon to like just, melt bosses like this. If you aim at weak points, you can rip their health apart. And I know with the fire rate it may seem kind of scuffed, but essentially you just wait for your firing fiesta to kick in, and you've got yourself a beast of a weapon. Okay, so next up I want to show you how this performs with Colossi. Now delay, I am using this setup to use the infinite ammo on Glaze's third ability. So this is a time where you would basically switch from this build over to this build to get yourself more damage, and with Glaze we're going to focus on weak points. Now the reason I'm doing this in the lab is just to show you as many of the Colossi within the same short time frame. So you can see here, when you aim at weak points, this thing just melts. It'll melt all the bosses regardless, and it's just crazy how fast you can do this. The bigger the weak point on the Colossi, the easier it is, and then when you put up the poor Devourer, you can see how he suffers. It's almost comedic, but you gotta help but feel bad for the guy. We'll scale it up a little bit more. We'll go for the Obstructor. Then you can see just in general, you can rip any of these apart. If you find any weak points, just rip the weak points apart with this setup regardless. Let's scale up a little bit more. Let's go for a Molten Fortress. So even with this one, big ol' angry turtle, you can see there, just as soon as you've ripped one weak point apart, you can just rip the next one apart. Molten Fortress goes down without a problem as well. Even in terms of bossing, the whole reason I'm doing this in the lab is to show you can back and forth it. Once Gluttony is done scanning his lasers, even Gluttony is not a problem with the Excava. You just rip apart his weak points, and Bossman is not going to survive anything. Even Gluttony goes down. Now Deathstalker, I would say, is the first example of this weapon not being able to fully rip everything apart per se. So with Deathstalker, if we do this, you can still see there's decent damage being done. If I can actually even hit him, then there's decent damage being done, but it's definitely not the best damage in the world. And Deathstalker is the first Descendant Colossi a boss that was like truly designed to stop people. So it does make sense that Deathstalker is a little bit of a pain. However, don't worry about that. If you still love the Defiler, like a lot of people in this game do, don't worry about that. Defiler gets absolutely shredded anyways. So yeah, Glay and Excava for bossing is an absolute monster. And Serena and Excava is also an absolute monster. As for Serena, well, let's get on into some Serena gameplay for this as well. So, disclaimer, this is Ashley playing Serena. She's literally like one of the best Serenas in the game, or within the top 5. So, do not try this at home, I guess, but enjoy the absolutely peak gameplay. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
찾을 두에 너의 눈빛 glow up 심장이 말해 louder 이건 운명 같아 시작된 fantasy 우리 movie 속 같아 사랑을 했다 우리가 만나 지우지 못할 추억이 됐다 볼만한 멜로 드라마 괜찮은 결말 그거는 됐다 널